On tonight's Wales at 6. Left behind, Alex is one of thousands of blind and partially sighted people struggling in a cashless society. She says things need to change.
If all the machines came with accessibility features as standard, then we wouldn't have this problem at all.
Also on the programme, a new row erupts over the controversial water park that's making waves with locals. And world record breaker Colin Jackson describes the struggles he's faced with his mental health in a bid to get more men to open up this summer.
And from Peru to Builth Wells, Paddington Bear takes centre stage on day 3 of the Royal Welsh Show as organisers see a huge surge in entries for the children's competitions. Join me live later in the programme for more.
Hello, good evening. Paying by card is increasingly becoming the norm as we move further away from cash. But just imagine also having to give your PIN number to a stranger in order to use the payment machine. It's a worrying thought, but a situation some blind and partially sighted people have found themselves in. A charity that represents those with visual impairments says the machines are becoming less accessible and want to see more support at the checkout. Liam McConkey has tonight's top story.
Alex and George, like many people, like to catch up for a coffee. But what may seem like a simple thing to do can come with issues. Both are blind and partially sighted, and when paying for items, they're faced with particular challenges.
A lot of the card readers now that you see in cafes, restaurants, shops, they're all operated through touchscreen, which is really tricky because you come into contact with one and then you're thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to enter my PIN number? Because I really struggle to see things on the screen, so then I have to either ask somebody to do it for me or tell somebody my PIN number, which is not ideal.
Of course, in many cases, they can tap their card on a reader and the payment will go through. But it's fair to say, most of us have been in those situations where we need to input our PIN.
I was in an establishment one time and it was a touchscreen card machine and it wanted my PIN. And the woman behind the counter said, "Can't you get someone to do it for you?" I said, "No, that's my PIN number."
Although it may seem like a small thing, as Alex demonstrates to me, there is a real hurdle that blind and partially sighted people have to face.
This one that I'm touching here on the right is a touch screen and it's completely flat. I've got no reference point. I don't know where any of the buttons are.
But the one that's on the left there, that's next to you, that the cafe provides here, that's much more accessible for you.
Yeah, it is. This has actually got physical buttons that you can press, and it's got the dot on the number 5, which is typical of most phone keypads, and it's just much easier for me to use.
Alex and George say from their experience, more shops seem to be taking up touchscreen card machines rather than tactile ones. And with society heading more towards being cashless, they say their accessibility options are being reduced. Now, back in 2013, cash payments amounted to 51% of transactions. And fast forward 10 years to 2023, and that had dropped to 12% of payments. Now, charities that support blind and partially sighted people say they don't want a reversal back to cash payments, but they want to make sure that card payments are as accessible as possible.
One shop may have one kind of reader, another shop has another. So let's just all agree, and maybe the Welsh Government needs to tell manufacturers and traders that they need to meet their obligations under the Equality Act for reasonable adjustments and come to an industry agreement of what we should be using.
Over the next 10 years, the Welsh Government is working on its Disabled People's Rights Plan and says it wants to improve accessibility across the board to allow people to live independently. But that independence can only come if the needs of blind and partially sighted people are thought of first. And with technology advancing at such a pace, they have real concerns that they're an afterthought. Liam McConkey, ITV News in Cardiff.
2 councillors have become the latest political figures to announce that they're joining Reform UK. Louise Emery and Thomas Montgomery, both councillors in Conwy, have announced their defection from the Conservative Party. It comes after Nigel Farage's visit to the Royal Welsh Show yesterday, where former Conservative member of the Senedd, Laura Ann Jones, also joined the party. There are concerns about the environmental impact of an inflatable water park in the Vale of Glamorgan if it's allowed to stay beyond its trial period this summer. Emails recently released by the council show that the attraction's operators had initially discussed a 15-year term and expansion into other activities like open water swimming. Well, Rob Osborne is at Cosmeston Lakes for us tonight, where the aqua park is. Rob, what are the main concerns here then?
The concerns tonight, John, are basically what was discussed behind the scenes before this aqua park even arrived here. As you say, campaigners who have questions about this site have obtained emails in which you can discover that a proposed discussion was made about having this park here not for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but maybe up to 15 years. I think it's fair to say that this park is controversial. We've been here today and we've had people walking past saying they can't wait to have a go on it, and we've had people saying it shouldn't be here. The only ones using it tonight, I have to say, are seagulls who are perched on it, but when we were here earlier this afternoon, it was full of people taking part and using it. But campaigners locally concerned about the environmental impact, concerned about water, and concerned generally that this thing shouldn't be here. They also say they're concerned that the council isn't listening to them.
I'd say just listen, just converse, talk to us. You know, like I said, we were never against an aqua park as such. What we wanted was to be consulted. What we would like to is to be listened, is to be invited. We have invited councillors numerous times for conversations. We have invited them via email, we have invited them in person, and we just get pushed back. Not now, can't talk about that, it's not our responsibility.
And Rob, how have the council responded?
Well, council are saying, John, that there's been no sort of backroom deal. Council leader telling us that decisions of this nature can only be made by the council cabinet here at the Vale of Glamorgan, and says preparatory work has to be done by council workers. And they say the issue of discussing this for 15 years wasn't raised by the council, but by the people who basically own this site. And they say that is reflected, of course, in the final agreement. As you say, John, this is the trial. This is supposed to be here until September, but campaigners tell us that they are about to launch legal proceedings.
OK, far from the end of the story. Rob Osborne at Cosmeston Lakes, thanks very much indeed. Welsh athlete Colin Jackson has told this programme how he experienced panic attacks and eating disorders after retiring from competing. As part of a drive to get people to talk about their mental health, the European, World and Commonwealth gold medalist has opened up about the anxiety that followed his sporting success. Our reporter Gwennon Campbell sat down with him.
Here comes Jackson.
World champion, Olympic medalist and world record breaker. Colin Jackson's legacy sees him as one of Britain's greatest athletes. But with fame and stardom comes immense pressure.
When there's money involved and big money involved, of course, expectation is huge. You know, people who don't know you criticising you because you finished second or third in the world with something. Okay, you were expected to win, but you're still second or third in the world and you're getting criticised. That's a hard thing to deal with and cope with.
And for Colin, that pressure led to eating disorders.
For me, it was a way of coping with another thing with environment and body dysmorphia, that I was looking around thinking I wasn't good enough and looking around me all the time and comparing myself to people in my game, you know, of athletics, and saying, well, I don't look like them, so obviously I need to diet, I need to be much slimmer, I need to be... All these things are playing constantly in your mind.
What was it like when all of that came to an end?
Oh, that was most probably the most traumatic time because when you're a star in your field and it comes to an end, you then start to question, well, who am I? What is my value? And for me, I suffered hugely from anxiety attacks. You literally feel like you're having a heart attack. You can't breathe, you're sweating constantly, you know, your mind is just running away, and it's awful. Now, when I look back at that, I can have a sense of how generally, and I generally mean this, how proud I am of that young man, because there was a lot going on in his head, and you know, to just realise that I've come out of that, the person I am today, the strong person I am today, makes me proud of that young person.
And the Olympic legend has now teamed up with a local charity to encourage men to spark a conversation this summer.
It's all about raising awareness of mental health, mental well-being. A lot of men don't tend to speak to each other, you know, about their feelings, and just by talking out and releasing the stress, anxiety that you hold can make such a massive difference.
By opening up about his feelings, this athletic legend is now back on track and is encouraging others to follow suit, one step at a time. Gwennan Campbell, ITV News, Kincoed.
And if you or someone you know is affected by any of the issues raised in that report, you can find help at itv.com/helplines. You're watching Wales at 6. Still to come on tonight's programme.
I'll be meeting one of the rising stars in the international sport of jiu-jitsu, and she's just 12 years old.
And it's never too early to talk about the weekend. I'll let you know what this area of low pressure might mean for our weekend weather.
Well, now it's time to head over to Llanelwedd for the third day of the Royal Welsh Show. And our rural affairs correspondent, Hannah Thomas, is there on the showground, of course. Hannah, I happen to know this is your favourite day of the week, isn't it?
It certainly is, John. Yes, we've had Welsh Cob Day and we've seen the champion sheep shearer of Wales. But I wanted some floral interaction tonight, so I've come down to the horticulture village. It is a little bit of a quiet oasis away from that busy showground, because you'll remember for the past 2 nights I've been stood on the ITV balcony overlooking that main ring where the Ukrainian Cossacks have been. Now, the last time they visited the show was about a decade ago. But as Lewis Rhys-Jones reports, 3 years ago, their lives were completely changed when the Ukrainian war broke out.
The Ukrainian Cossacks know how to put on a show that brings awe and amazement to spectators. And while it's clear they're glad to be back in Llanelwedd, their world has been turned upside down since their last visit.
To be really honest, the situation is really difficult. Situation is bad because, like, all of us, we have close friends who are already dead. We really don't know what will happen tomorrow, not even with our horses and our stuff, but like with our country. We really don't know because everything changes daily, and unfortunately we can't say there's anything good right now.
Olek and his horses are beloved for the spectacle they put on, but their time is now more often spent on the front line out in Ukraine.
The people who know Oleg, they say, right, so we don't have enough techniques, but you can use horses because we know your background, so he can deliver the stuff by the horses. Yeah, so there's only one way how we can do something, is be as much positive as we can.
And that's exactly why they are keen to carry on and perform in the places they can guarantee a very warm welcome.
Yeah, so this is the great country, best country to do any stuff with horses, because of the culture, and the people have this feels about the horses and about the people who work with horses, and that's absolutely great.
There's no doubt the Cossacks are happy to be back on the showground for the first time since 2016, but home always remains at the forefront of their minds.
We're really scared to leave our families and at home, because just one day, one night, they're not sleeping and we're sleeping soundly, and we're good, and they're like scared of their lives. So it's really hard for us to leave them there and be here, but we need to bring people to know Ukraine. We need people to hear Ukraine. So we are here with Oleg coming he been at war just a few days ago, and now he's here with us, and we're really happy to have him.
You give your energy to audience, and when you take it back, it's so nice. And I was so happy to be here and work here, because it gave me a lot of energy for future.
Their talent has been the talk of the showground this week. But behind the performance is an important reminder of the pain and anguish Ukrainians continue to face back on their home soil. Lewis Rhys-Jones, ITV News.
Yes, and we wish the Ukrainian Cossacks and their families well. Well, I'm surrounded by sunflowers here now, and I know they are many people's favourites. These were actually grown by the Harris family in Libanus near Brecon. But if we go inside the big marquee, then we've got all of this display that we can see. My favourites actually are just at the top here, where we have the gladioli. My granddad used to grow these in the garden, so I have plenty of childhood memories of them. Next to them we have the carnations. We'll remember those from weddings. And then we have the dahlias, and Adam joins me. I know he's got a real soft spot for these.
Well, look at the bench. Look at the bench in front of us, Hannah. Isn't it wonderful seeing so many dahlias and seeing an increase in entry in this vivid array of flowers, you know. And dahlias are back. They're big and they're better with the heat this year as well.
Well, that's good to hear. I know you launched the Horticolour Village last year. How has it grown in the last year? Has it developed?
Oh, absolutely. You know, bigger and better is the word. People are coming on their feet and they're voting with their feet as well in terms of the exhibits, and it's lovely to see a show with new exhibitors coming in. We've seen increase threefold, you know, in the children's entries and the young people's entries, which actually, you know, safeguards the future of horticulture. And I see this show as a celebration of horticulture in Wales. This is our pinnacle. This is the crown of horticulture in Wales. Come here and come and celebrate the best of what we've got, you know.
That's a really good point, isn't it? We're coming now upon the fuchsias.
Yeah.
Now, how do we grow a perfect fuchsia? Because that's the question lots of gardeners want to know.
You'll have to ask Gareth Davis, because he has done wonderful in this class. You know, fuchsias, they tend to be frost tender, so it's important that we look after them over winter. But the key tip to having plenty of blooms with fuchsias is proper pruning. And just look at the bench in front of you.
Incredible.
I've never grown fuchsias to this standard, but it's even given me the bug. You know, I'm thinking next year, let's have some cut-ins, not from these, obviously, you know. But let's plant some ourselves, and why can't you join me on the bench?
Well, I'll definitely be having a go, that's for sure. And I know Jonathan Hill in the studio will be trying to grow his fuchsias too.
I've tried but failed. Hannah, thanks very much indeed. Now, a new campaign has launched to tackle the blight of littering. It comes as recent figures from Keep Wales Tidy show fast food packaging was found on more than a quarter of Welsh streets and drinks rubbish on nearly half. With lots of us getting out and about now it's summer, people are being encouraged to take pride in their local area and keep it clean. Carol Green's been out and about finding out more.
It's the start of the summer holidays and many of us are heading to the beautiful Welsh coast to enjoy the beaches or to the countryside. But there's a new campaign from Keep Wales Tidy to make memories and not mess. Now, Gareth, you're spearheading this push. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going really well. Obviously, the weather's a bit changeable at the start of school holidays, as you'd expect.
You're looking at the shoreline here. What sorts of rubbish are you particularly worried about?
We do find a lot of small pieces of plastic, find a lot of cigarette ends, but small bits of plastic that are going to break down into microplastics and obviously be a source of pollution and a hazard in the environment.
For birds particularly, but also takeaway rubbish is on the rise, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't find so much of that out on the shoreline like this. It'd be more in the streets, but yes, it is an issue.
Are things getting better?
We've certainly got more and more volunteers out picking litter on the streets and countryside.
Well, certainly here in Rhyl, you know, there's a very active group on the beach. It's usually spotless. Another group just started at the Botanical Gardens. So is it something people are getting behind?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lovely well-being activity as well. So people really enjoy that sort of being in the moment and picking litter. And it's really rewarding. You know, it's a nice feeling, isn't it?
Is the education message getting through?
I think that would be a big thing, is the behaviour change amongst people. the children, we work a lot with eco schools in the schools, and the children are absolutely superb. They're so keen.
Tiny bit of paper there.
Good.
No one wants to go to a beauty spot, do they, to find it blighted by rubbish?
Absolutely not. We've got such beautiful countryside, beaches, towns and villages. They're amazing places to think of having a day out and a picnic. So important to take the litter home with you, but also to make those positive memories for the future and not have memories of litter and waste.
Definitely. Well, we'll keep looking on this shoreline and see what we can find. So that's the message. Get out and about, enjoy beautiful Wales, but take your litter home with you.
Hear, hear. Well, the time now is 20 minutes past 6. Here's a reminder of tonight's top story. A charity that represents those with visual impairment says paying by card is becoming a daily challenge for some blind and partially sighted people. The RNIB says card machines are becoming less accessible with fewer buttons, leaving some customers having to tell strangers their PIN numbers in order to pay. And still ahead on the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
Coming up, England's Euro semi-final victory saved by the subs. Now, just one match away from retaining their title. The BBC says it will air the MasterChef series featuring the departed stars John Turode and Greg Wallace. And a farewell to the Prince of Darkness. Tributes are paid to the Black Sabbath star Ozzy Osbourne. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Before that, a 12-year-old from Llanelli is fast becoming a rising star in the martial arts scene. In just a few months' time, Megan Thayer will be heading from South Wales to Southeast Asia to represent Great Britain in Jiu-Jitsu. Well, our sports reporter Matt Southcombe is at a training session tonight. Matt, have you picked up any handy moves yet?
Well, no, I haven't, John. This is as close as I'm prepared to go, and I will now retreat to a safe distance where I will find Megan Thayer. Megan, thanks for joining us tonight. You're the first person to represent GB at junior level in 25 years. That is amazing. What made you want to get involved in jiu-jitsu?
Well, my dad has been doing it for as long as I can remember, my sister as well. So I've been doing it since I was 4, for as long as I can remember.
And obviously now you're going to the World Championships in November out in Thailand, and that is also amazing. What are you looking forward to? What are your hopes from that tournament?
Well, obviously to win, but also even just to win a match would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And just what is your favourite thing about jiu-jitsu? What do you really love about it?
Well, that's a really hard question, actually, because I've been doing it for so long. There's nothing really amazing that stands out, but it's just all of it, really.
Yeah, absolutely right. We won't keep you any longer. Go and get back involved and carry on training. And we bring Dad in and Coach Chris. Chris, first of all, what is jiu-jitsu? It looks pretty intense to people who perhaps don't really know. So what is it?
Well, there's a couple of different forms of it. So we work on the traditional or Japanese kind of jiu-jitsu, which has got striking, throwing, groundwork. There are Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is mainly groundwork, and judo, which is kind of throwing and groundwork as well. We stick to the traditional side of it, and we work with the JJIF and the Great Britain Jiu-Jitsu Association then to be able to get British fighters back on the circuit out in Europe, which is something that we're growing all the time and trying to really focus on. We've got a strong youth set up off the back of what Megan has been doing last year, and it's been really good.
Awesome. And what's it like as a father watching your child compete at this level in such a physical sport as well?
It can have its moments, but no matter if it's my child or whether it's one of my students, I'm the loudest person in the corner anyway, and I'm emotionally involved in it as well. But it's nice, and it's a huge amount of pride watching Megan do what she does. And it's nice to see that she's taken inspiration from her sister as well, who started off, and from the age of 3 she was itching to get on the mats just after watching her sister on there as well. So yeah. It's been a really family affair all the way through.
And just quickly, what are the hopes then for Megan moving forward?
She's very modest, asking for a win. She got a win last year. This year we're going to win it.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, we'll let you get back involved as well. John, it is now time for me to retreat to an even safer distance and just pull myself a little bit further away.
A very wise move, Matt. Thanks very much indeed for that. Well, of course, school is out, and what does the weather have? Does it have a fighting chance of clearing up, I wonder? Nick Miller has the forecast details.
clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hello, a few showers around this morning, but then the day stayed largely dry and bright, the best of the sunshine across the north. And more widely tomorrow, we'll get to see some sunshine and temperatures are fairly close to average, but in some sunnier skies, I think particularly towards the southeast of the country, it will feel just that little bit warmer as temperatures approach the mid-20s. As a ridge of high pressure starts to move in, that's why things are really settled at the moment. There is a weak weather front moving through on Friday. I think particularly into the hills, that might squeeze out some light rain. And then into the weekend, here comes low pressure. Just a few showers on Saturday, a greater chance for catching some on Sunday, though I think the bulk of this wet weather may just miss us to the south in terms of the heaviest rain out of it, but we'll keep you updated. Still the chance in this northerly flow of catching the odd stray shower moving in from the sea overnight, though most of us will remain dry and temperatures with those clear spells dipping down just into single figures in the chilliest rural spots, though most of us double figures as the day begins. A mix of cloud and sunny spells throughout the day tomorrow, but certainly more widespread sunshine to be had. It's a fairly light breeze as well, so it will make for a lovely summer's day tomorrow, and temperatures around Cardiff and Newport getting to 24 degrees. But I think all of us, wherever you are, if you're in some sunshine, it is going to feel warmer. Then heading through Friday, here comes this weakening weather front here, producing a bit more in the way of cloud. Across Ellery, for example, we may just see some light rain and drizzle out of that, though I think many places will stay dry. Still some warmth around, even though there will be cloudier skies. And then the forecast into the weekend, chance of a shower on Saturday as an area of low pressure approaches, but it does look wetter as we go through Saturday night and into Sunday.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
Encouraged by something a little bit brighter and warmer on the way tomorrow, we may just see those pollen levels and grass pollen nudge back up to moderate, but low again going into the weekend. Enjoy your evening.
Our thanks to Nick for that. Don't forget, there's still plenty more news and content online, on the website and on ITVX. But for now, that is it. I'll be back with the late update. That's after the ITV News at 10. Hope to see you then. But for now, enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.